For just 50 cents, you can make a difference. In our world news today, we constantly hear about famines and food shortages and medicine shortages in different countries around the world. But how many of you have heard of a book famine? Here in the United States, we have no shortage of books. Our libraries and our bookstores are filled with books on every subject. For our children and grandchildren, books are a normal part of their lives for information and instruction and entertainment. So imagine living in a place like Africa where children don't have books, or the few books that they do have must be shared one book shared by 12 children, and the books are old and outdated. But what if you could be a part of an organization that wants to put books into the hands of the 450 million children that live in Africa? Books for Africa wants to do just that. Placing books into the hands of the 450 million children that live in Africa will unlock their imaginations, change their lives, and change their generation. I've always enjoyed reading for as long as I can remember, and I realize that everybody doesn't like to read, but I believe that we all have at least one favorite book. And as parents and grandparents, we have at least one favorite book that we like to read to our children and our grandchildren. A book that opens up their imagination and causes them to dream about places and people and what they want to be when they grow up. Today, I want to first give you some background information on Books for Africa. Secondly, I want to talk to you about the success of the organization. And third, I want to talk to you about how you can help Books for Africa put books into the hands of the 450 million children in Africa and change a generation. Let's first talk about some background information on Books for Africa. According to the Tom Worth story on the Books for Africa website, Books for Africa is a 501c3 nonprofit organization founded by Tom Worth, a British immigrant living in St. Paul, Minnesota. While he was visiting Jinga, which is the second largest city in Uganda, he visited the local library, and he saw that they had very few books, and the books that they did have were about 25 years old. And he really wanted to do something about that. So upon his return back to Minnesota, he met with the Minnesota Book Publishers Roundtable, and they formed what would later be called Books for Africa. The United States Agency for International Development reports that 40% of African children are not in school at all. 46 million children have never been in a classroom. And while there are children in Africa that do attend school, for every one book, it has to be shared by 12 children. That's why Books for Africa wants to end the book famine in Africa. They're doing this by collecting books that are slated to be thrown into the landfill, and they're putting those books into the hands of the children in Africa. Books for Africa believes that if the best way to change or to end the poverty in Africa is to get books into the hands of the children so that they can have the opportunity to get an education. And once their minds are changed, their lives can be changed. Now let's talk about the success of the organization. A report on the organization website states that since 1988, Books for Africa has shipped over 31 million donated text and library books to 49 countries in Africa. In the last 12 months, 2.2 million books with a dollar value of $28.3 million has been shipped to 22 countries in Africa. 616 computers have been shipped to Africa, and 15 brand new libraries have been built. According to the Charity Navigator, which is the largest independent organization that evaluates charities, Books for Africa has earned its 5th consecutive 4-star rating for efficiently managing its finances and growing its finances. Out of a score of 70 assigned by Charity Navigator, their overall score is 69.93. Their financial score is 69.91, and their accountability and transparency score is 70. In a nutshell, what those scores mean is that Books for Africa is a fiscally responsible charity that does exactly what they say they're going to do with your donations. So let's talk about how you can help get more books to the children in Africa. The first way you can help is by volunteering. You can volunteer at one of the warehouses that Books for Africa has in either St. Paul, Minnesota or Atlanta, Georgia if you live in that area. Volunteers can be as young as 14 years old, so you can volunteer as a family or you can volunteer as a group or a civic organization. The other way that you can help is by donating funds. It costs 50 cents to get one book into the hands of the children in Africa. So for the cost of an item on the dollar menu at Wendy's, you can get 2 books into the hands of the children in Africa. You can donate by going to their website at booksforafrica.org and by clicking the donate button. Once you've completed your donation, you actually receive a thank you letter immediately in your email from Books for Africa. In conclusion, for our children and grandchildren, books are a normal part of their life. Placing books into the hands of the 450 million children in Africa will unlock their imagination, change their life, and change a generation. Books for Africa is a 26-year-old 501c3 nonprofit organization that in the last 12 months has shipped 2.2 million books to the children in Africa. Books for Africa has earned its 5th consecutive 4-star rating from Charity Navigator, which is the largest independent organization that evaluates charities. In the book I Can Read with My Eyes Shut by Dr. Seuss, he says, the more you read, the more things you will know. The more you learn, the more places you'll go. So, I want each of you to come go with me to give a donation to Books for Africa so that we can put books into the hands of the 450 million children in Africa so that they'll learn, they'll know, and they'll go to change their generation.